Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, Andy here, another Christmas live stream. It is technically Christmas where I am right now, so Merry Christmas to all of you. If it's not Christmas where you are, then just pretend I said it to you whenever it is Christmas. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, then pretend that you do, and then pretend I'm saying hello Christmas to you. And if you still are not happy with any of that, much love to any of you. Hello to all of you. I can see you in the chat. King Cold, hi. AV, ho, ho, hello. Hello to you too. Brandon, hello. Even me, look, there's me saying hello. Hello, me. Isn't that weird? That's me from the past. That is technically a different me than the current one. Mr. Chad, sorry, Dr. Chad, Broman the Broist, says, I enter the chat with 3 hoes like I am Santa. And then all of you, and I guess I jumped into, in the chat had a big discussion about how much sex Santa gets. And look, if I'm honest, I think Santa, like with the amount of fame that Santa has, I don't think it would be that hard. I'm pretty sure there would be a lot of women out there with a lot of a Santa fetish. So yeah. King Cole, Christmas is in 8 hours for you. Beautiful, amazing. Phoenix, sup, hello, how you doing? Sebastian, hey, hello, Mr. Sebastian. Benjamin, my brother, it's been a few days, man. How you doing? How you going? Diane, Merry Christmas. Where is it where all of you are right now? That was a terrible sentence. What time is it where all of you are right now? Surely someone else has to be on Christmas. What time is it in Germany? Someone has to be on the 25th. It can't just be me. There's no one from New Zealand or anything here. Am I the only one who's technically... England, you guys are behind. It's like fucking 2 a.m. where you are. Yeah, Germans, it's like the previous day. Americans, it's the previous day. Wow, it's just me. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, hang there for a second. I'm going to go show you guys what Emmy got me for Christmas. I won't show you what I got her because she's away and she hasn't got a present. But she got me a bunch of... Wait 2 seconds. These are just some of them. She actually got me like 10, and I'm not going to show them all. But she bought me a bunch of hot sauces because I'm on keto, so I only really eat meat and, some vegetables if they're low carb. And my favorite one is this one. It's bacon flavored hot sauce, and it tastes fucking amazing. Absolutely love hot sauce. So what a sweet present. And they're all basically 0 carbs. Phoenix, Santa is your parents. So yeah, he's pretty judgmental. Yeah, no, Emmy and I have had this discussion so many times where we're like, look, Santa is a fun little thing that everybody does. But like Santa's literal job is to be incredibly judgmental and literally say whether you are a good human being or a bad human being. That's insane as a concept when you stop and think about it. And most people don't, But actually, no, because so many parents will then say, if you don't do what I want, Santa won't give you a present. So like it's literally used as emotional blackmail by so many parents. So it's a wild notion, but we all get behind it. Hell, I'm even dressed as the dude. But yeah, it's this crazy concept that we all came up with. Like this judgmental dude who'll literally tell you that you're a bad person. And everything you did that year, all the good didn't count because it was outweighed by the bad. So you're just a bad person. It's like very similar to like heaven and hell, like that kind of binary concept. So I'd love a kid where the parents are like, if you don't do this, Santa's going to bring you coal. And then the kid's just like, mother, I don't believe in like dualism. I believe that things are non-binary. And I believe that I've done my best this year. And if Santa still wants to judge me and not give me presents, then I would accept that and welcome that. Like you have some like enlightened kid who just can't be emotionally blackmailed. Yeah, you guys are in England, Germany. Brandon, you've given us an update. I texted the girl that I fooled around with on the last day that I had a great time. And she said she did too, but went further than she wanted to due to trauma. So yes, this will happen sometimes. And for you right now, you might not know how to handle that, but this is like a normal part of dating. It's something that doesn't get talked about a lot, but people got emotions, people got baggage. We have a guy in the coaching group who had sex with this Japanese girl who, before they had sex, she opened up like in the bedroom. They were naked, they were cuddling, they were about to have sex. And she opened up about some stuff that she had been through and some trauma. And she said last time she'd had sex, it was, violent and not what she wanted and all of that kind of stuff. You find at some point that like most human beings have a story. Like, every human being has a story, but a lot of human beings have been through some fear, doubt, pain, suffering, trauma, etc. when it comes to sex, intimacy, relationships. How many of you have baggage? Put your hand up. I can't see them, but put your hand up if you have baggage. I do. I've processed it, most of it, but like that's a human thing. And part of sex, sometimes, it doesn't have to be this way, but sometimes you go through a sexual experience and then one person's like, I think that was more than I wanted. And I think I didn't know in the moment how to say that. And that's okay, dude. Like, you can handle this with as much grace as you can, as much poise as you can. You know, send her a text or talk to her or meet up with her at a cafe, and or something and talk about it. And just say, hey, it's cool that we went too far. Like, what would you like to do about it? Like, actually, I'll show you a video that I did where I talked about this. It was about consent, but also about boundaries. And so a lot of people with consent and sex and all of that get really, really, really worried of like, what if I push someone's boundaries without meaning to, which is sort of what your comment here is about. Like, what if we go too far, but I didn't mean to? So this video here, Brandon, I highly recommend you watch this video. Just search my channel for the word consent. And I literally talk in here. I have a couple of timestamps and stuff. And one of the things that I put it down here. Here you go. So there's lots of confusion out there about consent, boundaries, and sex and trauma and all of that shit, right? And a lot of people will just yell at you and be like, you must ask for consent. And it's like, yes, but like, that's a very blunt way of saying it. I would rather give you guys and girls 5 philosophies that I try and live my sex life by and my life in general. Number 1, I want my sexual partners, or I want to leave my sexual partners better than I found them. As in, when they leave the bedroom, when they go home, I want them to be a little bit better than before they came in, if possible. Sometimes it isn't, like in your case here, Brandon. Sometimes trauma comes up without you realizing it and without her realizing it. Number 2, I want them to have a good time, and I want me to have a good time. Everybody is just doing their best, including me. And so this girl that you slept with or you fooled around with, she was doing her best. She had some trauma. She tried not to let it affect her. She was trying to enforce her boundaries and say no if she didn't want to do something and say yes if she did. She was trying her best. But in that moment, she wasn't quite able to realize that something overstepped her boundaries. Or maybe she did, but she wasn't able to say that to you. And you were doing your best. You're an empathetic, kind, gentle person, Brandon. I know you very fucking well, brother. You care deeply about ethics. You care deeply about people having a good time and about love and all of that. And so you were doing your best. And both of you had an experience where one of you went a little further than you wanted to, and that's okay. And number 4 is, if I'm ever unsure about consent or boundaries, I can just ask. And look, number 5, Brandon, this is what applies to you, which is why I'm showing this video to you. If we ever overstep each other's boundaries, we can just talk about it. Do you know how many people think, like, if one person goes too far in the bedroom, like without meaning to, we're talking about when it's not intentional, like this. If we go too far in the bedroom, it's all over. I've traumatized someone. It's fucked. It's weird. It's awkward. You both might be awkward about this, but you can just talk about it. You can literally send her a text and be like, hey, it seems like we went a little further. Are you okay? Like, would you like to talk about it? And by the way, we don't have to do anything going forward. We can just chill and slow down. Like, the number of times that I've had sex with someone or like fooled around with someone or made out with someone and trauma has come up. Dude, at this point, it's got to be like, I don't know, fucking 50 times. Like, and sometimes it's little bits of trauma. Sometimes it's massive trauma. Sometimes it's just like one woman in particular that Emmy and I dated for like 6 months or 9 months. Yeah, she had gone through, maybe I won't say the word on YouTube, but she'd gone through I'll say it. She'd been raped. We're adults here. We can say fucking words instead of being weird. She was raped. And she hadn't ever really addressed that. And she never told me. She never told Emmy. It had happened when she was much, much younger. And it came out during sex with Emmy and I. And at first I was like, holy shit. Like, why is she crying in the middle of sex? We didn't do anything. Why is she being weird? Like, now she's like almost like covering herself up and putting the blanket on herself. And so we obviously stopped and we were like, sweetheart, like, is everything okay? What's going on? And she wasn't even able to tell us. And she cried for a bit. We both held her. And then like half an hour later, after just holding her and telling her everything's okay, then she opened up. And so we just talked about it over the next couple of months. And we went so unbelievably gentle. And we were like, okay, we don't have to have sex like ever again if you don't want to. but like, would you like to talk about it? And she eventually opened up to her family about it because she'd never told anyone. Like, we were the first people that she told. And she eventually then went and sought therapy and healed it and all of that. Like, this stuff can happen, but the worst case scenario is you just talk about it. Like, you're a human being trying to do your best, so is she. And I promise it doesn't have to be this like big thing. You know, you go on to say, I responded with sympathy. Yeah, because you're a lovely person, Brandon. And she hasn't responded for almost 2 days. Yeah, she's giving herself what she feels she needs in this moment, you know, and maybe that's a bit of space. Maybe that's figuring her own shit out. I wouldn't take it personally, just in case you are. Like, it sounds like you've done everything you possibly can. And my only goal with all of you here is not to make you perfect, you know, especially a situation like this. You know, how would you ever handle a situation like this perfectly, Brandon? You wouldn't. It's taken me a lot of time. Do you know how imperfect I was with people's baggage and trauma and emotionality and all of that and all the stuff that comes up? I was so imperfect for years, but I tried to get a little better, and that's what you're doing. You've been brilliant, Brandon. This is so beautiful, man. Like, this is so cool. You've done such a good job. You go on to say, I was pretty sad about it for a little, but I'm feeling decent now. Yeah, you were probably just sad for her, bro. Maybe sad for yourself. You know, because you felt like you had a beautiful experience. You're like, damn, we fooled around. This is so good. And it can feel a bit weird at first when the other person doesn't have the same experience that we thought they were. And again, that was you doing your best. She was probably doing her best as well to enjoy the moment and be present, and she wasn't fully able to. That's what this is. Like, I think a lot of times, especially as men, we're like, oh, it's just sex. And I like to have some reverence for the act of sex and the intimacy and the vulnerability. It is not just sex. This is not just getting laid. This is not just getting pussy. And you, Brandon, are never the person, like, that's not you. You've never once spoken like that. I know. But like, a lot of the time we look at sex and we're just like, it's just sex. No, it's a moment of extreme fucking vulnerability. And if all we're focused on, especially as men, it's very easy to do this as a man. If we're just focused on sex and getting laid, I'm just going to fuck her. It's just sex. It's fun. It's just sex. We can maybe miss the fears and the insecurities that can come up. And any guys that have insecurities about sex, they understand this. Brandon, you do to some extent too. Any guy that's ever had like a guy that's inexperienced understands the vulnerability of sex. But that's what this is, bro. This is extreme vulnerability. And sometimes when you're in that moment of extreme vulnerability, like she was, stuff comes up. And so you've done the best that you can, Brandon. I think you've done an incredible job here, bro. Like, this is amazing. I'm really, really, really fucking impressed by you, dude. And she'll either text you back in a couple of days when she feels better, or she won't. But you did the best that you could. The only mission here is to be as empathetic and kind and compassionate as you can. A quote from Mother Teresa: I would rather you make mistakes in kindness than work miracles in unkindness. And you've tried to be sympathetic. You've tried to be kind. Maybe hit her up in 2 weeks. If she doesn't reply to you for 2 weeks, I would send a message and just go, hey, you know, I hope you're okay. Much love. You know, I don't expect you to text me. It's fine if you don't want to. I get that you're probably feeling a bit weird. I felt weird after sex when I wasn't sure if I wanted to do things and we went a little like, I get it. I know how it feels. Yeah, much love to you. Let me know if there's anything I can do for you. Just send us something like that. Speaking of much love and boys that look exactly like me.
Hello.
Hello.
Merry Christmas to Andy, who's actually in Christmas right now. Andy is about 5 inches deep in Christmas right now.
So just the tip.
just 1/4 of the length is in Christmas right now.
Just one. Everybody. No. Okay. Listen. Hey, in the coaching program, like once a month, we have every week we have a post. I have an automatic post that comes up and says, like, you know, celebrate your wins, celebrate what's good about you, celebrate your gratitude. Do you remember the one time that someone, like, you had to write 3 things about yourself that are lovable, and someone wrote, I have a giant fucking. Yeah, I have a giant cock.
And then everybody responded. And then every single person responded being like, and my big dick. After that one person said, I have a big dick, every single other person who was doing gratitude, and there was like 15 people in the group.
Yeah.
And every single person just responded, and my big dick, like in their list, which I thought was really funny.
I'm not going to say her name, but the female coaching client that we had at that time. Was she in the group at that time? And if so, what did she say?
I
think
hope,
she was in
knowing her, she would have said, "And my big dick too." Knowing her,
Yeah, she
so
would
that
have.
was
Yeah,
so.
yeah, 100%.
She would 100% said that. Yeah. Not that she looks like a man, by the way. I would never say that. She's a very nice lady.
She's incredibly feminine. Yeah. Dr. Chad says
She is.
Timu
Yeah,
radical
she's a.
and Timu Andy. She
Yeah.
what?
No, she was very proud of her feminine energy. Like that was a big thing about her. She had like all the positive aspects of like men and like the get up and go, like be like, you know, grind, be someone in like value to society. But she also was like, I'm a submissive, I have femininity, I value these things. So yeah, she was a really good like snapshot of what like a successful woman who like has her shit together. And like, but also like,
who wasn't a feminist. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't want to get into the ideologies of what people believe and shit, but it's all good.
Yeah. Everyone in the chat's typing their times. I like that. I feel like we're a giant clock. Giant clock. I said clock with an L. Don't demonetize me. Is it a butt plug? Is what a butt plug? Where the fuck is this coming from? What are you talking about? Is
everything is a butt plug. Okay. If you are brave enough, everything is a butt plug.
Expert shit clapper, this is a butt plug, okay?
That's definitely a butt plug.
This is a prison butt plug so that you can text your friends and do your drug deals when you're in prison, okay?
All butt plugs should have Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, obviously. Like what is wrong with you if you don't have a God, we should have like made something fun for this Christmas stream. But we're just gonna do our normal shit of like boringly answering questions. You're all boring. Everyone in the chat is boring. I don't want to answer questions. Can we do something fun like watch Elf? We should watch Elf.
All right, everyone. I've muted Cam, so
let's watch Elf.
How can you unmute yourself? I apologize for the derogatory comments that Cameron has said about you. I disavow all of them. I want to issue a formal apology, and we're going to do better going forward. Like going forward, we're going to do better. Is that not the mission of self-improvement?
Did I miss any good questions? What's Santa's body count?
Yes.
That's a good question.
1.
He only had Mrs. Claus. He's just married to Mrs. Claus. It makes it horrible if he's a fuckboy.
Diane says, "Never have I ever." Let's play Never Have I Ever. So everyone in the chat has to type something that they've never done that most people have done. That's the concept.
No, because Never Have I Ever just turns into like a bragging game of like, I've done this and you just drink. That's what every time I play Never Have I Ever, people just...
Never have I ever like made a mistake because I'm so cool. Never have I ever made a mistake. What's your guys' body count? Haha. Well, okay, we've done videos, we've done content.
Oh yeah, we don't count. So
yeah, we don't count, and we don't
know. Too fucking many. Too many. We don't know.
But the thing is, Dan, this is like I've done so many videos and articles where I talk in depth about this. I used to talk about how many people I had slept with and like how many threesomes I'd had and all of that. And I just found that a whole lot of people used it to judge themselves. A lot of people would say, well, I haven't slept with as many people, so therefore I'm not good enough. And lots of women will look at numbers like that and go, well, I've slept with more than that, so I must be a bad person because I've slept with too many people. So yeah, it's something that we don't really talk about because we've just found too many people grab that number and use it to hurt themselves.
I'll give the deep lore on it though. We used to be part of a community where like you had it where everybody had it in like their little like the segment. So when you're in a forum, usually when you post, there's like a little bit that you can keep the same every single time. It's like a footnote, isn't that what you would call it? Like a footer. And so everyone's account would have this footer, and it was on this forum, which no longer exists. It was like it was basically like a get laid self-improvement forum. So and a lot of the guys wanted to cold approach, they wanted to do online dating, mostly cold approach, and like so people would put their lay counts in their footnote, in their foots, so that basically the reason really was so that you knew you were getting advice from someone who actually knew what the fuck they were talking about. That was the positive reason for doing that. But it was kind of like a brag thing too. Like the guys would walk around with like, 100 day game lays or like 100 night game lays, and they would be treated like gods and you could just lie. Like some guys came through it, like were basically called out for just basically lying on this stuff. But yeah, that was, we saw value in it at one time because we thought it would tell people that we knew what we were talking about. But you don't even have to do that to get people to listen to you online. You actually don't have to show fucking proof at all, which is kind of a sad reality. But like there's so many people out there who will never show proof of anything they say, but they'll have tons of audience, tons of people listening to them, and it doesn't really matter. It's more about how good your content is rather than like how much
Edgy,
experience you actually have. Yeah.
edgy
And are you
comment, edgy
connecting?
comment. Ready? Edgy comment of the week. Everybody on the news and everybody in government has no proof of what they're talking about other than a degree, which means you went to university for 3 years. That's my edgy comment of I'm 14 and this is edgy. That's my comment.
There are huge black pill channels that talk about how like this is the correct the way to look at women, and then they openly say things like I've only been on like 4 dates, I've only slept with like 2 women, and therefore, but you should listen to me because I make great content.
Were enough. That's all I needed.
I make these because people make good content. Like I'm gonna objectively say, as someone who does YouTube producing, like a lot of this content is really good. That's why it goes really far. Like as in the style and the ability to convince people and the way it's produced, and they're making content on ideas that people want to hear people talk about. So from on one level, I respect the game. I respect the content they're producing on like how good it is and how well it's being received by their audience. But at the same time, they're just chatting absolute bollocks a lot of the time. So I'm just like, okay, whatever. But anyway, back to what we were saying. Personally, I started not liking the fact that I counted. So I stopped doing it. And Andy didn't like the fact that he was having a bad effect on people. So that's kind of the summation. For me, it was a very personal choice. I didn't really give a fuck about whether or not people were like, judging themselves off my lay count. But I didn't like counting. I didn't like focusing on the number. And I've spoken to tons of guys who have the same realization as me. Like it just focusing on that number did not help them and did not make them enjoy dating. You don't want to turn dating into a game, really. The idea of calling it the game and everything like that. Even at the end of the book, he said that at the end of the book, the game, he said it's not a game. That's in like the last chapter. And he had a realization, like he made a real connection with someone at the end. And he was like, oh, this isn't a game at all. It's like, no, it's not. It's like, this is not like, you don't want to minimize it
just
to that.
Do it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah. And counting makes it so much like a video game. Like that whole like stacking numbers, stats. Yeah.
Diane, I believe it was you, Diane, that recommended we watch some documentary about a woman that slept with like 100 guys in like 5 or 6 hours. I watched that. I actually went and watched that. She has Diane, you were right. Yeah. She has a full on breakdown at the end. Like she's literally crying at the end. And she's like, I didn't feel like it was human because I only had like 2 minutes with each guy. And they were like, but I came all the way here to have like a nice time with you. And she's like, I'm sorry, you got to leave. I got to do the next one. And it's like, yeah, like that's an extreme example, obviously. But guys go a lot of the way to that. They're like, I want to have sex with 100 people. I want to have sex with 200 people. And it's like, why? And that's something that you and I ask in the coaching program a lot. We do get a lot of people that come and they'll say, I want to fuck 100 women. And my very first question is why? Like, Phoenix, you even kind of wrote this. My last partner claimed that she slept with 200 people. So now I want 200. It's like, you just want the number for the number, but you don't know what might come with that number. Like if you just go for a number, fine, go sleep with 200 people that you're not attracted to, that maybe you pay some money to. You could easily sleep with 200 people. Like if really all you care about is the number, go sleep with 200 sex workers and then you'll get the number. And then you go, no, I don't want to. Why? What do you want then? Well, I want some form of connection. Okay, so you probably care more about that. Yeah.
You see, sorry, that is a good point as well that I didn't touch on, is that when you start attaching value to the number and you want the number, basically you want the number to go up. Like that's like the main thing. Like if you have that number, you want that number to go up, or you want to hit a certain number. Like I hear people be like, oh, I want 50 before I'm 30. That's like quite a common one. Like if they don't want to say 100, because some people think 100's unachievable. 100's really easy, actually. Like if you break down what 100 is, it's like 2 new girls. Was it 2 new girls a month for 4 years, roughly? Is 100. That's not unachievable. That's not unachievable by any dude living in a big city. Like that is actually really, really achievable. So yeah, and like it's just basically everyone quits or gets a girlfriend and end up realizing the number's not worth it. But the point is, the other point is you start sleeping with girls you wouldn't have slept with otherwise because you want a number to go up.
Correct.
That is a huge issue with it. That's like the biggest issue. Is that for me, and that's when you start realizing, oh, this is bullshit. Why the fuck am I chasing this number? And I know tons of guys who've fallen into the trap, like in and around our community. Like I can see it happening when they write that post where they're like, I didn't really like this girl. So what were you doing then? Like, like why were you even on the date?
Something you didn't want to do to get some arbitrary number, And the reason that people care about the arbitrary numbers is because they're trying to prove something to themselves. Like, I am worthy. So why don't you just skip the middleman and go straight to the I am worthy thing and start working on
Well, they
that?
want other people
That
to
doesn't.
respect them. They want other
Yeah.
guys
So
to
why don't
respect
you
them. It's the
just be
other one.
worthy of respect? Something that my friend Tim, that's staying with me right now, something he says a lot is like, I'm supposed to respect you because you stuck your penis in someone. Like, why would that be worthy of respect? I want to know, did she have a good time? Did you have a good time? What did you need to do to make that happen? Did you guys connect? What was the whole dating process like? Are you guys going to see each other again? Do you like each other? That's the stuff that maybe I'll be interested in. But what, your penis went in a vagina and I'm supposed to rejoice for you? You did that a whole bunch of times repeatedly and I'm supposed to rejoice. At some point, that might even be a failure to really improve. Because this is something you and I figured out, because we chase numbers, or at least I chase numbers. I'll speak for me. I chase numbers for a while. Once you get decent at the dating process, sleeping with one more person is literally no more difficult than the person you just slept with before.
Fucking.
And so you're now just on a treadmill. Yeah, you're now just repeating the same thing.
Procedural. It's so procedural.
Yeah.
It becomes really procedural, and it's like there is. That's why I kind of respect guys when they're like, I want to improve at game, because you're finding an avenue where you can still find improvement. So the guys like, I don't really like, I'm still very agnostic and skeptical towards game generally. But the guys who are like, I want to go and improve, how well I talk, my conversational skills on date or something like that. I want to improve like the guy just said, how many orgasms you can give in the bedroom. If you guys want to improve, you guys want to look at things within dating, and you can.
Did she have a good time?
One second. Yeah, if you want to improve things along the way that you think are valuable and you're giving value and whatever, or like maybe you're giving more value to yourself, or maybe you're making a better chance of finding a good partner or something, then yeah, that's cool. But like, yeah, the guys who are just stacking numbers and they aren't really focusing on improving anything anymore. They just want to get to that number, because you can learn exactly what you need to do within about five. Like, get from 1 to 5. You can basically just repeat that same process another 95 times. It won't be that difficult. You just give yourself enough of time to do it. It's really, I think I will say at the beginning though, like, this is always difficult for me, because I do think there is value in chasing a little bit at the beginning when you just need experience, just chasing the experience. I do think there's value. It's just beyond a certain point. And we're talking about becoming more advanced at this and becoming more to the point where it all became a bit boring. That's what we're talking about. So if someone's in the chat being like, I'm a virgin, it's like, no, actually, I would encourage you to go and chase the experience. But after a while, the experience is kind of the same. Like, eventually it just becomes the same.
Yeah, you can phrase it like this. Sleeping with a lot of people will not make you happy, but the appreciation of sleeping with people will. Same with anything.
Yeah.
Making a ton of money will not make you happy, but appreciating having lots of money will make you happy. Or appreciating.
I think knowing how to do it. I think knowing how to do it becomes very calming as well. Like, knowing that I can just go and find a girl is very, like, I don't have the anxiety that I have no idea what I'm doing and I'm never gonna have sex. And like, I didn't think, when I was the anxiety that I would never lose my virginity. Then when I lost it, there was like this anxiety that I would never be able to get it consistently, or I'd never be able to keep a girlfriend, or if I got into a relationship, I'd be stuck because I wouldn't be able to go. You know what I mean? There's all these anxieties that pile up, and the cure for everything was just the experiences of knowing I can just go and do it when I need to now. Like, it has to some extent cured any anxiety I have, because I just know that I have options now,
Let's answer this question from Benjamin. He wrote it like half an hour ago. What do you think about Black Pill? I think they're all doing their best, and I wish them love.
Drama. He wants drama. He wants Andy to call out the whole Black Pill and cause drama. No.
Why? A lot of men that are in a lot of pain. Why would you shit on those guys?
Did he watch? If Ben wants to know about this, watch our reaction to the documentary. If he didn't watch it, because we did give our entire analysis of guys who are in Black Pill. I will say I'm going to struggle to take any dating advice seriously from someone who is like very inexperienced at it. So when I hear when I hear guys talking, when the guy's like he's scared of vaginas, he's never slept with a girl or kissed a girl, I was just like, and you're just talking about women and like how they date. Like, I'm just like, it's very difficult for anyone to take you seriously. And that's what I generally feel about Black Pill analysis. It's just like, oh, you think your observation, you think your skills of observation are like better than like, guys' skills, like guys' knowledge of experience itself. What's that thing, qualia? That qualia shit that you love, the word. Like that, you cannot see through observation what you can experience through actually doing it. It's basically what I would tell to any Black Pill guy who is, basically a virgin, doesn't really have any experience. Like, you don't know what you're talking about enough, really, just because unfortunately you haven't had the experiences, you've been unsuccessful. And I hope you stay on the track and it doesn't lead anywhere darker. But yeah, it's just one of those things where like there's a lot you need to learn by like, maybe a lot. I've seen when we've seen loads of guys who used to be black pill just kind of like work their way through it and like run through the brick wall and like walk through the fire. And like it's difficult for me to like listen to someone when I've seen guys who aren't anything special. Like I love them to bits, they're just not anything special. Do you know what I mean? They're like that everyone. I basically think everyone can do it because I've seen guys who are like incredibly disadvantaged get laid and experience good things in dating. So like when I hear someone else come along, I'm just kind of comparing them, which is maybe a bit unfair. But I'm always comparing when I see a new guy come along complaining about it. Like I'm comparing him to other guys who I've seen just fucking crush it. And it's like, but there's no reason why you can't do what he did. Like I don't see anything,
Yeah, if you're in the black pill, if anyone listening is like in the black pill or this finds its way to anyone in the black pill, like much love to you. And if you're in the position where you're like, I'm black pill, but I kind of wish I wasn't, like I don't, like there's that little glimmer of hope. Well then, yeah, keep watching the content, keep, listening and improving and all of that. There is hope for you. If you're in the black pill and you're like, no, I'm convinced, like I'm just here to argue, which is, there is quite a lot of black pill like drama and arguing, as you pointed out. Well, then much love to you as well. Like I would have nothing to say to that person other than I love you. And if you don't want me to love you, that's cool. I'll just do it anyway. And I won't tell you. So yeah.
You do it without consent. You're loving someone without their consent, Andy.
Yeah, I'm allowed to love them. They can do whatever.
Mother Teresa out there non-consensually loving all those poor people.
Yeah, but yeah, if someone doesn't want to change, what am I gonna? I don't have an opinion on that. I'm like, great, you don't want to change. That's beautiful. I love that you know what you want. Like, there's more conversation. I don't need them to change, and neither does Cam. That's the thing. So, like, when you ask a question about what do you think about the black pill, well, I don't need them to change. I don't need them to believe us. I guess that might be the question.
The only time it's ever relevant to us is when someone shows up kind of talking black pill talking points and and they're in the group. Say sometimes every now and again, you find that someone who's come for help, come for coaching, is kind of holding on to black pill ideas. And at that point, Andy is mostly just like, well, let's have a look at these stories and see if we have any evidence to the contrary or whatever, see if we can work through, because they might keep on to those beliefs. But you can bet Andy's going to have like a 2-hour discussion with them about like on the call will just end up being overtaken by let's have a look at that, shall we? Let's just have a look at those stories. But yeah, people are allowed to believe whatever they want. We're just going to interrogate it and have a look at it and see if there's any other alternative ideas. And I think there's a reluctance in the black pill to consider alternative ideas at times, which is unfortunate, but it's not really our problem. Like unless they come to us. Like we're very much a case of help people who come to us in these days.
Let's kind of semi-answer this question. We don't have to write a lot because I think we already covered it. Benjamin says, my last time with a girl, I had erectile dysfunction. Should I consider this girl in my body count? I think we already had a big discussion there about body count. Like, I would let go of the ego attachment. There's a clear ego attachment here. I need the number to go out. I would be focused more on like, did I have a good experience with her? And that's entirely possible without your dick being hard. Like foreplay is still a great experience.
Also, yeah, what happened is what happened. Like, do we need to categorize it? Like, what happened is what happened.
Yeah. You had a. Why do you have to label it as a success or
you have a girl,
failure?
You had a girl willing to get naked in your bed and have sex with you, and your dick couldn't get up. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you had a girl, you got that far, you had an experience with a girl. Like, yeah, part of what Andy and I are trying to point out sometimes as well is like enjoying the whole process. And not just attaching all your happiness to did you get your dick inside them. Like appreciate every part of the process, and you will be a lot happier. Be like, I'm grateful I got to go out on a date with that girl. I'm grateful I got to make out with that girl. I'm grateful that girl let me touch her boobs. Like I'm grateful that girl came over to my house and was like comfortable enough to say yes. And there's so many stages you can be grateful for and to celebrate. You don't have to just be like everything was a failure because my dick didn't work and I didn't get it inside of her.
Expert Sheet Clapper says, yeah, I sometimes obsess over body count because I feel inferior. Yeah, exactly why we don't focus on stuff like that. It's like focusing on the dollars in your bank account. How is that a measure of you as a human being? But it's funny, these cute little metrics that we come up with to define ourselves by.
Also, bro needs to get a vibrator.
Yeah, just get a vibrator, dude.
cheat
Yeah,
code, mate.
yeah. I don't make women orgasm like with my mouth or my tongue or my fingers. Like I could if
You
I
can.
wanted to.
We
But like,
can. We can with fingers.
yeah,
Fingers is very. I think fingers is usually the
yeah.
easiest,
But
personally,
like, why do I
from my
want to do that?
experience.
I'm
Like, you
interested
have a
in her
machine.
having a good time. I want her to have fun, not my own ego of like, wow, I made someone come. And to be fair, at the start, yes, I did care about that. I was like, sex toys are cheating. And so what? So you want the woman to have a less good time so your little ego can get stroked? And like, I'm not judging you, expert cheek clapper. This is like what we do, right? Especially as men. And at some point, I was just like, all right, here's all the vibrators that I have. Like, I bought a bunch. And then to just every woman, I'm like, do you want a vibrator or do you want me to my tongue or do you want finger? Like, what do you want? What do you want? And 9 times out of 10, they're like, I want the vibrator because it feels the best. It feels nice. Especially women that don't have a lot of vibrators at home, which is like basically none of them. But like occasionally you'll meet a woman who doesn't have vibrators and you got all these ones. Why wouldn't she play with them? So yeah, that'll make it easier, dude. AV says, giving an orgasm is actually a really wholesome goal. I know, right? It's like focusing on the actual thing that all of you care about, which is like, I want people to have a good time. I want them to have a good time and I want to have a good time. And somewhere along the lines, we forget that and we're like, the number needs to go up. The number needs to go up. If you want the fucking number to go up, play fucking Cookie Clicker. Go play the free Cookie Clicker game where you click on the cookie and you're like, the number's going up. And you just keep clicking. You're like, then I clicked 3 times, 4 times, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm clicking, numbers going up. There you go. I just gave you.
It'd be fun if we had like an
take
Uber
heroin
rating
or something. If you just want pure fucking dopamine and you don't give a fuck how you get it, go eat a bunch of sugar, shoot fucking heroin into your penis or your vagina. Go plug yourself into video games and just do that 24/7. Just scroll on TikTok and doom scroll for like hours. Then you'll get the dopamine, which is what you're seeking from like, I want the number to go up and I don't care how it goes up.
A pretty common joke I used to make after sex was like, I hope you give me a 5-star on Yelp or like 5-star Uber rating or something like that. Like it would be kind of funny if we had that like app, like in the app, like in Tinder, someone could go on and do like a post-sex like 5-star rating or something like that. It'd be quite funny. But no, I think like a lot of it comes from like a lot of the anxiety about this stuff does come from more inexperienced guys, and I think the majority of men who watch, like I'm not trying to insult anyone, but the majority of men who watch content on YouTube about getting laid are going to veer towards more inexperienced men. Would you not agree? So like, or men who have not been satisfied with their sex lives. That would be like the 2 categories. So inexperienced men who are unsatisfied with how their sex life is going. So like, I imagine like, yeah, if you talk to guys who are, are more successful, they tend to care less about these things. And they tend to like, although I have met some guys who like, just wanted the number to go up and it kept going up and they passed like 600 and they were like, they still know their number. I'm just like, okay, like that's just you. That's just the way you do it, But like, we know a lot of guys who kind of just checked out of like the online community and stuff. You know what I mean? Like we know guys you've had on interviewed. You interviewed a guy, he disappeared. He just got a girlfriend and disappeared. Like one guy I can think of in particular, who was he was French Canadian. If that rings the bell of who that guy was. Yeah, he was a really cool dude. I always used to get upset to some degree. I don't get any more, but I used to get upset that we'd lose some of the coolest dudes because they would just get satisfied and they were like, I don't need the online community anymore. Like, why would I stick around? I could get laid for him when I'm already like happy with a girlfriend or whatever. And like that used to get me down, but like now I'm just like, lots of stuff that used to get me down doesn't get me down anymore. So, but that was one of the ones I remember just being annoyed about. It's like I feel like we'd have a much better community if people didn't fuck off because they were happy. You know what I mean?
Which is, I know you're making a joke, but like half serious, half joking. It is a funny, like, yeah. It's kind of equal what you want. I would say it's exactly what I want, but I understand why you're like, no, I want people to stick around and keep giving back. For me, I'm just like, I want these beautiful birds to fly out of the nest and go live their own lives. But I get I understand the thing of like, these are the people that
the community would be much easier. Yeah, the community would basically like look after itself if like the guys who are the most chill and the most like skilled just stuck around.
0.001% of people stick around in a community after they hit a certain point. Like to be like a Cam or a me or a good-looking loser or any of those sort of people, like it's just not most people. Like you move on to business or you move on to something. Like it's a very weird niche set of
crazy
circumstances.
Small. Yeah.
You
either really value giving back or you are making money. So there's like the 2 reasons why guys like stick around a lot of the time is that they really value getting back or they've kind of built a platform which makes them money from helping people. So like you can either be driven by one or the other. I don't judge people who are driven purely by money. Like if you're giving a good product, I don't care. Like, do you know what I mean? But I think a lot of guys like you, obviously you're a missionary when it comes to this stuff. Like I view you more as that. And I view you as more of a missionary than a capitalist. Does that make sense? You have like, you are focused on your mission. Like you have something that makes you happy
from this. If I was making $0 from this, which is the first year and a half of doing this, I would still do it. I just do significantly less because I'd be working a fucking job. But I'd do like one video a week. I'd probably just bang out one video a week, maybe a little more if I could, but like at least one video a week I'd be happy with. I'd do that for free, for sure. As long as like people benefited from it, that's all I would really care about.
And I think
people. Yeah.
I've always thought you'd end up in some form of counseling anyway, even if you weren't doing this. You would go and like do it professionally and like try and figure out a way to get into that kind of stuff.
Correct. Yes. So I'd just be doing this anyway. I'd just be a therapist, like without a degree. I can't be bothered getting a degree. I don't believe in that shit. Like, at least not for me personally, with what I want to do. So I would just do this anyway, but like as a life coach, which is what I'm doing. All right. A couple of people. Where was this? No, not that comment. This one. Okay, Phoenix. You said, but what happens when dating changes and I need the community to help me relearn everything again? What the fuck's going to change? It's just this. Man likes woman. Man walks up, says, hi, I like you. Want to go out? She says yes or no. So then you go ask more women. That's it. Like that will never change. And that applies to business. People overcomplicate dating and business more than anything else. They're like, what is the sales technique that I need to use? What is the marketing? And that stuff can help. But that's like the beautiful seasoning that you stick on top of your steak. The steak, the actual fucking meat and potatoes of this shit is just improve your product, which is you in dating, or your product or service in business, and then go offer that to a lot of people. So improvement and then the numbers game. That's it. That's like all this shit is. You say like, wouldn't the online dating meta change? What's going to change? It's just like, I fucking like you. Do you want to go on a date with me? Like honesty is always going to be the best policy for dating because most people don't do that. So you will just stand out by default. So just go be honest. And if the online dating meta changes, then you adjust a little bit. But it's not going to, guys like jerk themselves off over like, how to get laid on Tinder in 2025, the exact same way you did in 2024, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 90, like 2019. It's all the same. It's been the same since the fucking caveman days. You walk up and you grunted at a woman and you pointed at her and then she grunted back and then you fucking went and bonked each other. It doesn't change. I promise it doesn't change. As Rishav says, the fashion and sometimes the cultural references change. Yeah, that's all that changes. The app itself might change. Like the dynamics of the way the app looks or where the fucking buttons on the app are.
Sometimes I wish Tinder would stop fucking beta testing everything, but that's all good.
Yeah. Yeah, so stuff like that changes. But even if the online dating changes to the point where it's like impossible, you just go outside and say, hello, woman, can I date you, please?
I feel like Tinder is like this. Just a little bit aside. I feel like Tinder is just repeatedly trying to introduce new things, and then like you have Hinge, which hasn't really since I started using Hinge, barely has changed. I can't think of any feature changes on Hinge that have come along, and the Hinge has just remained really good. And Tinder keeps on doing stuff. Like it keeps on changing the payment structure. It keeps on changing what boosts do. It keeps on introducing new shit that no one uses. Like just. You had a good product. Just leave it static. Yeah. Like Hinge, you own Hinge anyway, don't they? They own Hinge too. So why are you so worried like about losing market share to Hinge, which is you also own?
Tinder feels like this is like us massively projecting everybody, but Tinder feels like an insecure product to me. Like the people making it feel insecure. They're like, we got to change everything. We got to do this. We got to introduce this and this and this and like some of that stuff is great, but a lot of it is just like not very useful and not very well loved.
Rishav, we know Bumble is not though. Bumble is owned by different people, but Match Company own everything basically, except for like
nothing wrong with owning. People have this weird fucking fetish with going. Did you know this company owns everything? Okay. So what? Like, what's your next sentence? Well, that's bad. Explain to me why it's bad. Or you can give me a bunch of reasons why it's bad. I don't care. I'm using the app to meet people. What do I give a fuck who it's owned by? And Rishabh, I'm not picking on you. I'm just saying, you wrote this like it's a gotcha. You wrote this like, oh, guys, did you know, like, it's all owned by the same company? And you're like, okay. Like, okay. And again, I'm not picking on you, Rishabh, but it is a gotcha that the mind likes to say. It creates a monopoly, okay? it puts the price up, and then there's no real competition. Okay, so pay more or go outside and talk to women. Like lots of people with monopolies, they're like, it's a gotcha. Oh no, it's a monopoly. Okay, so just don't buy it. But I have to. No, you fucking don't. So anyway, that's like a separate. There was a recent study how they're manipulating the algorithm, which is affecting the mental health of men. Then don't be that man. Who says
They manipulate the algorithm to make more money. Their only reason they're trying to manipulate the algorithm is to make more money. They're not trying to actually like actively harm people, as far as I'm aware. But like, yeah, it's always to make more money and everything. As long as you understand that about any company, it's not really that huge. Like the idea of making it like something that, you know, like they actually did a survey about mental health in the UK, and they were looking at which apps cause the worst, and Instagram was by far the worst for mental health by like some degree of distance. Yeah. Instagram was, and then Tinder was one of the best. Like the online dating apps are one of the best for like how people feel about them versus Instagram. So like if you want to correct your mental health, get the fuck off Instagram is what I would say. I genuinely, I struggle to get rid of some hatred of some things, but Instagram I really don't like. Like I really don't like the effect it had on me. Like it was a huge part of my like depression. Like when I was depressed during COVID, was because of Instagram. Obviously it's my own brain and my own fault and whatever, but like the actual, if that app wasn't there, as soon as I deleted the app and stopped going on it, I got instantly better. So it was almost as good as quitting smoking was, you know? So like, yeah, like there's things I'm more annoyed about than it is about like the dating apps. I think the dating apps generally have been something of a positive. I think overall, I don't see them as like a huge negative. I think that as they become more accepted, like I think we're entering an era where they are like the most accepted way of meeting people, almost. Like I can't see it's going to overtake. Like people aren't afraid to say they met on the apps. Like I think half of my friends who are getting married met their partners on apps, because like all my friends are getting married the last couple of years, like who I grew up with, and apart from the ones who have been with girls since like high school, like the rest of them met girls off of Bumble or Hinge, like the two that they seem to have met everyone off of. So yeah, I view it as it's a positive in my life and your life. It's been a massive positive, and in the lives of other people that I know. Those apps have hugely helped. And also we're big fans of like social meetup apps as well, which are the same concept, you know?
Yeah. What I was trying to get at before with everybody is like, look, we're here to focus on solutions, not problems. And a lot of the time when you say a problem, you say it as a gotcha. That is just the way the mind works. Like Rishav, your original thing, they're owned by a single company and it's an illusion. Gotcha. And it's like, okay, what are you going to do about it? Either use the apps or don't. You know, and then Sebastian, it creates a monopoly. Okay, do you want to use the monopoly app or not? Do it or don't. You know, illusion of choice. They can jack up the prices and there's no real competition. Okay, so either pay the higher price or boycott it and just go outside and talk to women. You know, Rishav, they're manipulating the algorithm, which is affecting the mental health of men. Okay, put more effort into your own mental health. Maybe take a break from the apps. Like Cam said, just don't use Instagram. If you get banned from one, then you're banned from all. Then go outside and talk to women. Like we're always...
There are also ways around the bans. Yeah, we know one of our coach Ed is like a ninja at getting unbanned or getting around bans. By the way, like there are plenty of ways to get around bans. Like you go on Reddit, look up how to get around a ban. There'll be like 15,000 threads telling you every single way to get around a ban, and you can definitely get around it. Sorry, I just want to answer the question. Someone asked, so what happens if a woman wants to Insta swap? You don't have an Insta. You tell her the truth, which is you don't use Instagram. Like exactly what I say. Yeah, it's exactly what I say. I say I don't have. I say the exact truth, which is, I don't use Instagram. I find it distracting. I find it affects me negatively in my life. So I don't have it on my phone. I have an account that I don't use. I would prefer it if we chat on WhatsApp. That is exactly what I say. Yeah. And I could show like in Tinder chat me saying that basically. I
don't message girls on Instagram. I've had plenty of girls say, "Can I have your Instagram?" I'm like, "You can look at it, but I want your number." Like I text over number, and they're like, "Oh, but like what about this other thing?" I'm like, "Well, I don't want to do that." Like I only text. And if you don't want to, fair enough. Don't give me a fucking phone number if you don't want to. But I only text people over phone number. It's what I want.
Someone else. Sorry. Before we do that, you do that. You do that first. You do that first. Go. I'm sorry. I'm interrupting you again. I'm sorry.
You are. Sebastian.
Forgive me.
I want to show you something beautiful here, brother. This is what we're trying to get all of you to do. Focus on solutions. So Sebastian, before you focused on a problem, you were like, it creates a monopoly and that's bad. I want you to think very, think deep about this, brother. How did you feel when you said that problem? And you said it as if it's a hopeless thing that has no solution. It's a monopoly. It's bad. How did that make you feel? And then how did you feel when you did this? Look at you, you fucking legend, saying a solution Oh, just don't use Instagram. Which one made you feel more free? Focusing on the problem. Oh, it's a monopoly and that's bad and we can't do anything about it. Or focusing on a solution. Don't use Instagram. Think about that. Which one made you feel better? Which one made you feel like taking more action? Which one empowered you more? That's why we get all of you to not just say a problem and be like, it's a monopoly, and then no follow-up sentence. Like, add a follow-up sentence to every problem you ever say, which is what you're thinking of doing about it, or what you want to do about it, or ask for help. Like, I saw someone's shirt yesterday that was fucking cool. It was so fucking cool. It said, like, life's full of problems. Cool, get to work. And I was like, holy fuck, I love that. That's like playing to win. So good job, Sebastian. Is this what you wanted to read out, Cam?
Yeah, I want you to talk about your BDSM bans and why you're just not fucking fussed about it. Like, I mean, people always ask you, like, aren't you afraid you're gonna get banned because you have like BDSM pictures and you message girls? And like, how many times have you been banned? Like, it's like you said you got banned like once every 6 months or something like that when you were running your own account. Yeah. So please explain to everyone why you didn't give a shit. That basically about it.
Again, follow on from what I just said there. You focus on the solution. It's like, cool, what are you going to do about it? Life gave you a problem. Cool, get to work. Like, if we can, I've talked about this a billion times. There's something called TTA, which, Cam, you probably know about, time to action. And the time from when you encounter a problem to when you start taking action on it, that's called time to action. Most people have a time to action of infinity. They're just like, it's a monopoly, and then nothing. This is affecting men's mental health, and then nothing. They don't do anything. I don't have a girlfriend. This is not most of you, by the way. Most of you take action. You all have a pretty decent time to action. But if we can lower that time to action and get you to start like literally doing something immediately you're starting to think, or you're asking for help, or you're saying like, what can I do about it? Which is most of you here most of the time. You ask us for help most of the time. You're doing a great job at this already. If we can reduce that TTA to basically 0 seconds, which is possible, it's entirely possible. It's what Cam and I do. Cam and I will not sit around complaining about something ever. Or if we do, we will say, can you help me with this? Or what do you advise? Or what should I do? Or what do you think? Or can we talk about this? Like, Cam and I will still complain about stuff, but we're like, help me. And so if you can get
Sometimes
your TTA to... Yeah, go.
Sometimes I'm like, I'm fucking tired. I don't have the energy for this right now. So I'm just going to take a nap, wake up, and then solve it. Yeah, because like there are times...
the problem.
Mainly, I'm just like, I'm going to have a nap. And then in 2 hours, I will then have the energy to actually fucking sort this out. But like right now, like I recognize that my body is telling me not to fucking go up. There's also like a thing about urgency doesn't mean it's important. No, your feelings of urgency don't actually equal importance or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So like when I know you struggled with this, like the idea of like, yeah, because people used to hit you up and DM you and you're like, I need to sort this out. Like every time that's where this can become slightly like a problem. If you become super action orientated, you suddenly start trying to solve everything immediately, which means sometimes you actually have to sit down, take everything out and rearrange it in like the order of importance, not in the order of like when you got a notification, which is when you start becoming like urgency first. And it's like, no, it's a matter of like figuring out what's important. TTA is time to action, Dan. So like how long it takes you to go from a problem to figuring out an action towards it. But yeah, no, yeah, to start working on it. But yeah, I agree. There's an extreme version where you're just like, you never give yourself time off and you don't rest. But like there is the other one where you don't take any action at all. We called it analysis paralysis for a long time. That's the biggest problem as well, especially smart guys. And a lot of the people in the chat are going to be smart. And the problem with being smart is that you think you have to think your way out of everything. So you're sat there just like, basically writing a dissertation on what you're going to do. And then 9 months later, you haven't even fucking started. And it's like Andy and I'd rather don't think, do something, and then you can think after you've done something.
It's like Rishav, like all of the fear. I know you're probably not. Well, I don't know. You are probably not setting up a BDSM profile yourself. I'm making a huge assumption there, but like this sort of like circle jerking, almost like the theory, the hypotheticals of like, but what if I get banned? Then you'll deal with it if it happens. Like, again, Cam and I would much rather most of you or all of you take action rather than sitting there trying to plan what you're going to do if something does or doesn't happen. How do you know what's going to happen? Cam's talked about this a lot. There's a hypothetical and there's the real, and they're not the same thing. Like, we live in hypothetical timeline and we're like, but what if this happens? What if that happens? And then you're not living in reality. Do you want to show the thing?
I want to try and find it. I don't remember where it is. Let me try and find it. Oh, I found it immediately. That's cool.
I
Let's see if it
saved it
works.
in. I have a copy of it. I've saved it.
I just
Can
want to
you
see if it
share
all like. Okay,
screen
okay. Yeah, I
on
can
here?
share screen. Okay. One sec. No, I think you have to let me or something. I
I
don't quite
have
know.
no fucking clue how to do that. If you give me a link, you can type it in the private chat on here.
No,
You
present
can give me a
slide.
link.
I think it's share screen. Let me get rid of my porn tabs. Wait, I don't know. I'm hitting share and it's not doing anything.
All right, come on,
The
Boomer. Just
browser.
put it in the private chat to me, and I will do it.
No, I want to share my screen.
I want to do it myself. You're like a little kid where you go to push the elevator button, and the kid's like, "I want to do it." What have you done, Cameron?
I don't know. I'm
Bear
trying to
with
work out
us,
where my.
everybody.
There we go. Can you see
Cam
that?
fell off too. Yep, we have a Boomer.
Okay.
Everybody chill. Reality. Yes.
All right. Can everyone see this? Because I can't see you. Okay. Right. This is the reality. This is the reality line. This is where we all are. Hello. Nice to meet you here. Okay. When you start creating a hypothetical, you do this. Now, I call it the should hypothetical because usually people say the word should, like I should have done this or I should do this. You know, it's like taking from reality and then creating this hypothetical. And when you spend a lot of time thinking about the should, you do that. And that is basically removing energy from your reality and taking it to a place that doesn't even exist. Now, we can get all scientific about it and say that this is all reality, true, it's in your head, but it's not helping you. It's basically showing that your energy and time and emotion is going somewhere that isn't helping you at all. Does that make sense?
They can't
Andy, you
answer
still
you,
there?
but yes. Yes, I'm
Are
here.
you still there? I thought I'd like exited
I'm
the
here.
screen or whatever.
Dude, okay, do you know twice now I've started a live stream and taught for like 3 minutes straight when my microphone just isn't working. And everyone in the chat's like, muted, 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 muted. And I'm like, for fuck's sake, that was like the best intro I've done. One of them it was just straight fire for like 3 minutes. And Expert, Cheek Clapper, and Phoenix, and everyone's like, muted, muted, stop, stop. Andy can't hear you. So, yeah, I know how that feels, brother.
Okay.
But good timeline. Yes, that's my favorite thing that you ever show. I'm so glad you made that. I don't know how you thought of it, because you're actually pretty smart, but like that's some divine intervention shit. That's like a really good timeline.
Yeah, the idea of that is like I said, like you can get really fucking like pedantic and tell me that there is no reality, even if you're thinking about something that's still part of reality. But it's like, you know what I mean when I say like emotion, etc. Like hypotheticals are just basically mental masturbation. You're not really doing anything when you're thinking about a hypothetical. Like you're doing no good realistically towards your reality if you spend a lot of time on these. Like I understand hypotheticals when people are like running through, like maybe you're running through a plan, like you're driving somewhere and you want to try and figure out what the best route is. You're like, maybe I go this way, then this way. Like in your mind, you're trying to remember how like fast it is. That sort of in a limited sense makes a lot of sense to do. But this idea of like running back a date and being like, if I'd done this, what would have happened? And you just start imagining that you actually had sex with a girl you didn't have sex with. And then 20 minutes later, you realize you've like spent loads of time like wondering like what you could have done correctly. And that's the biggest problem. And that's where a lot of guys who do like, especially guys who are into game, they spend a lot of time about this stuff. And they don't realize, like, especially guys who are like the coaches and the guys who are super experienced, when they're thinking about this stuff, they're taking it from their own experience level rather than from, and when you're inexperienced, you're not taking it from any level of like having been in those situations. So stressing over those hypotheticals makes fuck all sense if you've been in that situation like 3 times. Like you just don't have a valuable like experience place to go to like question whether or not you could have done something differently.
Yeah. Let's answer this question from like half an hour ago. Satakao Dirty. What a cool name. I have no idea where that name is from. Like fucking Polish or some shit. That's a crazy name. Hi, Andy. I'm a 25-year-old guy, good-looking engineer, high-level athlete. That's cool. But I feel like I can't trust women. That's okay. There are lots of women that feel like they can't trust men, so you're in good company. Cut them all out from my life 5 years ago. Always been avoiding them. I went MGTOW, but I'm tired of this. It's funny how people call it like MGTOW, and there's a sense of like, I'm going to go do my own thing. And you have. Like, dude, look how much stuff you've done. This is beautiful. But then that urge or that itch for intimacy comes back and you realize that you were running away out of fear, and maybe you knew that the entire time. It wasn't like a peaceful No, I'm going to go do my own thing. Or maybe it was for 5 years and now it's not that anymore. So this is one of those things where we can get autistic and talk about what the word trust actually means. You right now want to build trust. That is your question here. You're like, how do I build trust? Get autistic about the process of building trust. What you do is you be a tiny bit vulnerable in the smallest way. If you haven't been with women for 5 years and you don't trust them, do it in the tiniest way, a tiny, tiny, tiny baby step into vulnerability. And then you see if they handle that vulnerability gently or not, or if they laugh at you and mock you and tell you that you're a piece of shit and blah, 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 which they won't, I promise. Women are nice. But you take a baby step into vulnerability. You see that they handle it okay. Now you're starting to build trust. That is what trust is. I am vulnerable to you and you don't hurt me in that moment when you could have. Now I trust you a little bit. And so the only way you can build trust is vulnerability. You can do that in a very masculine way. You can do that with tiny little baby steps. But I would start with tiny little bits, like opening up and being honest. Just say, like, start with the tiniest bit. Maybe you're on a date or you're texting some woman and you go, hey, sometimes I feel like I haven't fully been able to trust women as much as I want to. Do you ever feel like there's been times when you haven't fully trusted men? And because she's a fucking human being, she'll say, yes. There's been lots of times I felt like maybe I shouldn't trust men. And you go, oh, damn. But like, men are so nice. Like, I'm a man. I'm pretty nice. Like, what made you not trust men? And then you talk about it. So taking those tiny little baby steps of just having these conversations, but be gentle with this shit, bro. Like, you probably have a really strong narrative that women can't be trusted. And so I wouldn't launch myself into breaking through that. I do tiny little baby steps to show yourself that everything's okay. Brandon and a couple of other people were talking about sex toys because you were trying to give recommendations. Diane, you gave a couple of recommendations and you were trying to give recommendations for expert cheek clapper. What you can do, and Cam, I don't know if you've ever done this, but if you own no sex toys, just take a woman, like a girl that you're dating, just take her to a sex toy shop and be like, what do you use? Or what here would you buy? Or what would you like to try? That's how I built up my sex toy collection. I literally just took a bunch of women to sex toy shops and I was like, let's look around for like half an hour and tell me what looks interesting to you. Or like give me recommendations.
I haven't done this, but I have a sex toy shop story. Friend of mine needed some pills, or some liquid version of said pills that you can buy in sex shops sometimes, or you can buy something that's like, I think you can buy liquid Viagra in sex shops. I'm not sure if it's real or not. But you can definitely get something over the counter that's a little bit, maybe they shouldn't have it, I don't know. But we went in there with some friends and there was a girl I'd been like flirting with a little bit. So we were all drunk. We went into the sex toy shop. My friend was basically, we stood outside and my friend was like, I'm too nervous. I can't go in there and get that for. So I was like, bro, I will. So dude, I'll go in there and get it for you. Fuck me. And then so me and a few others went in there. And then my friend, actually I went and got it, but I didn't have any money. So my friend was like, okay, I'll pay for this. And then me and this girl started hanging out, looking around one area of the sex shop. And then I decided to make my move on her in the sex shop. So like we made out for the first time in the sex shop.
Why do I not know this story? I don't think you've told me this story.
It didn't go anywhere in the end. I ended up this goes into different directions. I ended up sleeping with her friend instead of her. So like it goes in different directions. So we ended up nothing happened beyond that. Like it didn't, I don't know, there wasn't enough of a click maybe. And then her friend was really interested. So I ended up talking mostly to her friend. This was like when the era when I was living in hostels. So it's pretty normal to like make out with people that it's kind of like being in high school where you just like randomly flirt and make out with girls and then nothing really goes beyond that because like it just didn't work out or whatever. That's like how high school is, isn't it? I don't know. I didn't get with any girls in high school.
Yeah, neither did I. My God.
Just watch it. What does that mean?
So, let me.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see that. I didn't see the.
Is my date really going to want to use the same toy all my other dates used? I've seen videos where they put condoms over them first, but that seems kind of wasteful. Why don't you just ask the women? Why are you asking us? Like, why don't you ask each individual woman? The vast majority of women that I have dated or slept with don't mind. Some of them say, have you cleaned that? And I say, of course, but come into the bathroom with me right now and we can wash it. You can fucking wash it. And then they do. And I'm like, cool. Now they feel better. Every now and then I'll meet a woman who's like, oh, have you used that with other women? And I'm like, yeah, but it's clean and you can wash it. And they go, Oh, I think I'd rather not. But that's like 1 in 30 that are really that uncomfortable. Like the vast majority of them are like, if I can wash it, I'm fine. And I wash it obviously myself. But yeah, most of them don't mind. But just ask each person, bro. This isn't like one of those things. A lot of your questions, Phoenix, and this is just guys that don't have a lot of experience. Women do the same thing when they don't have experience with something. A lot of your questions are like in theory, and you're talking about women as if they're all the same. You're like, but wouldn't a woman do what every other woman would do? It's like, no, they're individual people. You really see this when you get more experience, and then you just start asking each individual woman. You're like, yo, what do you want to do? Like, it's not a big deal. You think this is a big deal right now, and you need some overarching answer. You think Phoenix, and lots of people do, if we can give you all the answers to what every woman is ever going to ask you or do or want or need, that somehow you'd be like the perfect player or the perfect partner. You'd be the perfect boyfriend. No, in every moment, you just say to the woman, hey, I want to do this. What do you want? Hey, what are you thinking? Like, you can just ask. And that's all Cam and I ever do. Like, we're not experts with women. We just, with each woman, say like, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want?
Speak for yourself.
Same with coaching.
I am the biggest expert. Cameron
knows
expert.
Everything. Cameron knows everything about every woman ever. Like, Cameron could even tell Diane right now. Cameron could tell you what's in your head right now because he's just like a savant. But I'm not that. So
what's that movie? The Mel Gibson movie where I can read. Mel Gibson where I can read people girls' minds. No.
Oh,
no,
I know which one you mean. The
Is
Passion
it What
of
Women
Christ.
Want?
Yep, great.
What Women Want, I think is what it's called.
The Passion
Fuck
of Christ.
Me. So, I've been trying to convince Andy to watch Baby Reindeer. So if everyone in chat can convince Andy to watch Baby Reindeer, because it's really up, I think would be really interesting for you to watch that.
Yeah, I might at some point. I'm not saying I won't.
You just like, I don't have Netflix, I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah, I did say that.
Yeah, you did say that.
But
has anyone tried sex toys for guys? Yeah, Andy's got tons of shit for guys too, I think.
Do I?
You have stuff for men. You have stuff that, don't you?
I guess you can use all the stuff on men. What stuff?
You have a ring. You have some sort of ring or something, don't you?
Oh, like cock rings and stuff like that. Is that what you're talking about?
That's obviously a sex toy for guys. Like, and stuff, anything that involves a guy could use is like, or a girl could use it on the guy. Yeah, but yeah, Rishabh, most of the stuff could be used on a guy. Like, in terms of like anything with impact play, a girl could pick up and use. Anything that's like, you know, you could basically use anything. Anything that's a vibrator, you can also use like to vibrate on a guy. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't really do a lot, but like it's, you know, some girls will do that. They'll just turn it around and like start using it on you a little bit. There's you tend to have fun just like teasing with them as well, and like just kind of playing around with them in ways that, and just like kind of like, you know, you're just playing around with them in the room and the bedroom, aren't you? They're not always being used for their exact like, you know, purpose or whatever.
He's talking about fleshlights. Yes, I've used one.
I think they look weird. I think they look incredibly weird, and I find them kind of off-putting. Is that enough for me to say that?
Like the look,
you know, like
the look of it. Like
it's like a vagina has been taken away from everything else in context and put into a hole, and that is fucking weird to me. Now that is not. I'm not making a moral judgment against them, but like it fucking looks weird. Do you not think? Just like a vagina on its own, like. And something about a dick doesn't look weird on its own. Something about a dick on its own doesn't look as weird as a vagina on its own. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, women using penises on their own all the time. That's what like every dildo looks like.
No, but every piece of architecture in human history has been a phallic, has been like a phallic thing.
Listen, I understand what's going on. You've seen so many penises in your life that you're used to that, but you see a fake vagina and you're like, the idea of a vagina just makes me uncomfortable. I understand. I get it.
Every time I see a conch, I'm just like, ugh.
The shell.
Yeah, the pink shell.
That's why you have tryptophobia, because you're like, no, it doesn't look enough like a male butthole, so I'm not interested in it. Okay, anyway. Now that we've gotten all of those jokes out of the way.
I wish Emmy was here for this. Are we going to do a three like person stream at some point with Emmy as well? That'd be fun.
You can say threesome.
No, we're not going to say that. It's your girlfriend. That's weird. I'm not going to say that.
We can if we want to. She wouldn't have. I don't know how to say this in a nice way, but I don't think she'd have a threesome with you anyway. Because like, what would be the point in sleeping with two Andys? Like, what would be the point? You'd want to mix it
I
up
don't
and
know
look
what the
like
point would
something
be.
different. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and also you like, I don't know, you would feel a bit uncomfortable with like, having a clone of yourself, like, just to
That's
look
what I
at and
mean.
admire.
Just
Yeah.
put the mirror. You have sex in front of the mirror. You can do the same thing. Now it's a foursome. It's beautiful. Rishav says sometimes guys feel insecure about their girl using a sex toy, as in like the guy's not enough or something. How do you deal with that? So I went through this very strongly. What are you dealing with? Like, this is one of those things, Rishav, where there's no real problem. Like, my answer here is going to be a bit boring. It's like, it's okay to be insecure. Either use a sex toy or don't. Like, you eventually are going to work towards being less insecure anyway. And then at that point, you'll probably just start using sex toys. Like, you, Rishav, are already doing a lot of work on working on your masculinity and your confidence and being okay with yourself and not needing validation. So this is like a problem that I think will solve itself for you. I don't know if Cam has anything to add.
Not particularly.
Like, you just become less insecure the more people you, either the more partners you have and the more you gather that experience, or if you have one partner that you have a lot of experience with, eventually you guys trust each other and you don't care so much
I'll
about
be
stuff like this.
I'll be real here. It sounds like this is more of a hypothetical than something you're really dealing with. It's fair enough having insecurities, but like projecting forward and imagining some insecurities is like next level. And so like just yeah, good experience, figure it out. If you have insecurities later, we'll talk about it. But like right now, it seems like you're hypotheticalizing like everything that could go wrong in the future.
Which is what we do when we haven't had a lot of experience or something. We worry about everything that might happen. Like, we're trying to prepare ourselves. Like, Rishav, you do this a lot. Phoenix, you do as well. Like, lots of people do, man. Where you're like trying to predict everything that might go wrong. Because you're like, I need all the answers now. And it's like, no, when you get to that bridge, you will cross it. You'll be fine. You don't need any more information, any of you, than what's already in your head. The thing that you're probably missing is taking more action. And on that note, Phoenix, did you go to any meetups? I'm surprised Chad hasn't harassed you already. Chad's been like all over you, going like, yo, what meetups did you go to? I forgot to harass you. Phoenix, have you been to a meetup? Have you gone and talked to people? I know like Christmas, a bit busy and all of that, but like, what have you done? If you haven't done anything,
What's
that's
that?
fine, brother. We're not going to judge you. What? Where you going? Fuck this guy. Fuck this guy. Just moving out on me, leaving me like my fucking dad when he went for cigarettes. I'm joking. I'm joking. I love my father very much. All right, Rishav, you say the only girl I dated, she could only come using a vibrator for some reason. The for some reason bit is most women find it a lot easier to come with a vibrator. I will even go so far as to say, I don't know what percentage, like maybe like 50% of the women that I have slept with can only come using a vibrator. Like, that's so unbelievably common. Lots of women can't even come with a vibrator. Like, there is a portion of women that can't come even with a vibrator, like when they're around a partner, because they find it hard to let go. So it's not a personal thing, dude. It's funny how we think of orgasms as like a thing that I'm doing. You're participating in it. But what you find when you get a bit more experience is like, especially for women, orgasms are very much about letting go. And so if she's not able to let go, that's a reflection on her. You can help. But if she's not able to let go, then yeah, she might struggle. When I first met Imi, she had never come in front of anyone else ever. She hadn't had a lot of sexual experience anyway, but she used to take like half an hour or an hour with a vibrator turned on to the highest setting before she could orgasm. And the first few times we tried the vibrator together, just her and I, she wasn't able to orgasm at all. And it was like an hour. I was like looking at the clock, and after a certain amount of time, I was like, this isn't really even fun. So I just stopped, and I was like, hey, like, I feel like we stopped there. Like, we tried. And then finally, she had her first orgasm in front of someone else, and it took like an hour, literally an hour, with the magic wand vibrator, the super powerful vibrator, like the most powerful vibrator I've ever used, on the highest setting for an hour, and she came. She was really proud of herself, and I was like, good girl. You did such a good job. That was amazing. It felt like we'd both run a marathon together. And slowly over the next couple of months, we worked on just lowering that time. It was like a fun little game. It was like a cool little hobby. You know, sometimes we would be watching a movie together and she'd just have it down there while we watch a movie. Sometimes I'd just be reading a book while she's laying next to me using a vibrator. Sometimes we'd be having sex and I'd just not move too quickly so I wouldn't come, or I'd come and it's fine. I'd just then lay with her and she'd use the vibrator. And eventually we got that time down to like 30 seconds. but that took months and lots of patience and all of that. So it's less so about you, and it's more about the other person and their ability to let go and to just trust that everything will be okay, all of that kind of stuff. Guys get insecure too. That's like, look, Rashav, you're a little insecure right now with this question. Like, you literally said that. But guys can get erectile dysfunction because they're insecure and worried about letting go and all of that kind of stuff. So women struggling to orgasm is their version of erectile dysfunction. I believe I have done a video on this, and I believe I even called it like women get performance anxiety, inability to orgasm. So let me see if I can find this for you, but just search my channel for orgasm, and where is it? Yeah, here you go, this one. If you search my channel for orgasm, it'll be like the 7th video if you scroll down a little bit. This one here. Women get performance anxiety too, inability to orgasm. And Imi talks through her history and her struggles to orgasm, like at the start, and other women that we've been with and their struggles. And I believe, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure I'm correct about this. Bronwyn, the girl that we've been dating for 2 years, I believe she hadn't orgasmed in front of someone else before she met us, and that took twice. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's correct. That she hadn't orgasmed in front of someone else without, like ever, and it took sex toys. And now she can sometimes come with my fingers or toys, my fingers or tongue, but sometimes even that takes a really, really long time. So it's not you, man. It's not you. Phoenix, yesterday my meetup was Jackbox night on Zoom. I have no idea what I'm doing today or tomorrow. Brilliant, dude. Good job. You don't have, if you don't know what you're doing, just fuck around on Meetup and find something. And if you can't find something, that's fine, but there'll be something on there. You got board game night on the 27th. Brilliant. Amazing. Good. Dr. Chad. Yeah, Chad. Asking the questions, brother. This is what I cared about. Good job. Did you look into in real life meetups, which is what we care about, brother? The board game one will be in real life. Hell yes. Hell yes. Amazing. Good job. Yeah, great job. And Diane talking about, yeah, exactly. Like lots of women. If you actually ask a lot of women, and you can just ask women that you're friends with, you don't have to sleep with them to ask them these questions, but if you ask a lot of women, most of them can't come from penetration. Like literally they require clitoral stimulation. Like you have to play with their clit or use a vibrator or something. There are some women that can come from just penetration, and Imogen goes, oh my God, these women have a superpower and I'm kind of jealous. There are some women that can come from literally just nipple stimulation, but that is so unbelievably rare. I have only ever met 2 women like that in my entire life ever. And I almost didn't believe them. I was like, no way can you orgasm from just your nipples without touching your vagina. And like, they could. That blew my fucking mind. But yeah, most women take quite a lot of stimulation to orgasm. And yes, Dr. Chad, exactly this. Imi will often take long breaks from vibrators because they do it's kind of like guys looking at porn all the time. It does overstimulate your brain and maybe your actual genital area. And then it's a lot harder to orgasm. So for sure, yeah. And yeah, exactly what Diane said. Sometimes if you're just going too fast, which is what a lot of guys think really good sex is, like it can be, like going really hard, really passionate, really fast, like slamming into her. That can be very hot and animalistic. But then sometimes it's almost like too much, and then you lose sensation.
Huh?
Say sounds paradoxical. We're talking about going slower during sex, like almost like tantric, or just slowing it a bit down and then going fast. My favorite type of sex is slow then fast, then slow then fast, like switching it up. Go really hard.
So what you found?
15 seconds.
This is where you found men like the best. I know.
Women.
Oh yeah, nipple stimulation. I found a girl. I found a girl that was like, I don't think I got her off on nipples alone, but we were really close. Like she said, "Oh, that's crazy how close we got."
Yeah. King Cold says, "What's the biggest woman moment y'all have seen?" What do you mean? What's a woman moment? Maybe Sex in the City. That's my biggest woman moment. I watched fucking all of Sex in the City, and I fucking loved it. I even watched the movies. That's my biggest woman moment. What do you mean by woman moment? I'm so confused what you mean by this. Yeah, Phoenix says explain the question. Yeah, you and me, both, brother. I'm confused by the question.
Do you have a plan, by the way, for what you're going to do after the streaming challenge is ended? Do you have any idea if you're going to do more of these? Have you figured it out yet?
Fuck no. I'm never doing content ever again. I quit. This is it. We're going out with a bang.
Okay.
Going out.
So that's a no.
I will do more of these live streams in the future. Like I cannot conceive of a world in which I don't do more of these at some point. But no, I'm not going to continue them going. I'm going to like January 4th, I think. And then I'll just do normal content. Finish the 365-day project that I'm on. So I'll be doing like one piece of content a day on the main channel. I will still answer people's comments. Cam screens all the comments and gives me like the best questions, and then I answer them in videos. So I'll still do that. I find that fun. We'll do these live streams from time to time. Like, I feel a lot more comfortable just doing a live stream.
Sorry, I'm being told I'm doing this now. Okay.
Yeah. Did you know? Okay, I'm gonna blow your mind here, Cam. There's gonna really you're just gonna have a mind blow moment here. There are people that exist outside of you, and so when I said we, I was referring to Emmy actually. But
Emmy doesn't appear to be like geographically located near you at the moment. So like I am all you have. Yeah. Are you gonna get like would you get Keith to come? Would you get Keith to come on the stream?
I could at some point and like shout out his.
Because he can come in person.
Had a couple of people. We've had a couple of people go and sign up for his coaching, and he was.
You said Timur might do it.
Thank you.
You said Tim might do it.
I can drag him. Like he'll come. I already asked him. He said yes. It's just I just have to ask him. I keep forgetting.
But I thought you guys normally do Christmas together, so I'm surprised you didn't grab him for a stream. Oh, could bring him on the stream. Not now, obviously.
No, he's not
like,
here now. He's left the house. He's like gone.
So tomorrow.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, you guys can sit down. You guys can introduce him to the boys and the girl.
We can talk about autism together.
Yeah, the autism stream. Like that's not every single stream we do, but like, you know.
Yeah, we'll do Captain. Yeah, it'll be more autistic. It'll be double the autistic because you're here and yeah.
I'm anti-autism.
Brother, much love. This is why we're doing the fucking streams, brother. You say I feel Christmas, I feel lonely. Yeah, that's why I'm doing the fucking streams every day for December. So we're here for you, brother. We love you.
Yeah, but you can't have sex with them.
We could. A man and a man can have sex if they want to. A beautiful Indian boy can have sex with a beautiful Irish Australian boy if they want to, okay?
Are you Irish? You're not Irish descent.
I'm 50% Irish. Top of the morning.
Try to pretend you're not English. Try to pretend you're not in any way English.
Northern Ireland. Huh?
Okay. Everyone, like, no one is proud of being like, no one, whenever someone's like, oh, I have heritage or whatever, they never say English. It's always like German or Scottish or Irish. But if someone's like, oh yeah, it's like 80% of my family is English, but that's not important. Like 20% are Native American. It's like, oh, okay, whatever. Anyway, just that small point.
Maybe let's answer one or two more because Cam and I got a 2.5-hour coaching call in a little bit. So how do you feel about taking a break between these two? Like we do one or two.
I forgot we have a call. I completely forgot we had a call.
Yeah, right. See, I thought you might have. Yeah, let's do one more question and then we'll fuck off, have an hour break and then get back into it. Otherwise, we'll be here for a fucking 6 hours straight. Expert Sheet Clapper, do you think about contradictions in society? You're allowed to go to the pub and get blackout drunk, but taking LSD or a cheeky bit of weed, oh no, you can't do that. Yeah, I thought about this stuff to death, and then at some point, Cam, get your little fucking spreadsheet out. I realized I was living in the hypothetical instead of reality. Like, if I sit there and argue about society and all the contradictions, I will be there forever. All contradictions are resolved by realizing that society and human beings are trying to do the best that they can in every moment, and they are imperfect. And society is imperfect. Laws are definitely imperfect because humans are fallible and imperfect. And that clears up all pain and contradictions, or most of it. So yes, your statement here is like society is imperfect. I agree. Society is like get some things amazing and then other things could improve. I agree.
Don't say society. Don't say society. You understand
Society
everything when you just say human. You just no.
Yes.
Fuck off. Okay, you just say humanity, and then once you say humanity, it doesn't. Then you don't have to create this like separation between. So society is just an expression of humanity. So like you just say humanity is imperfect. Every human you know is imperfect. So like you just accept it after a while. Can you react to Rishabh's question because that's a really easy answer because there's like 100 fucking video playlist. if you want to see an
Yeah, we do this,
interview.
yeah.
Yeah, do you
Yeah,
want to
but
see
he's
like
saying
Andy's
he's
fucking
saying he's
massive
already
interview
watched them.
playlist?
He's
Oh,
saying
have
he's
you?
watched them. Yeah, look, he
Oh,
said it
can you
was
guys bring?
motivational to watch them. He's saying he wants
Oh,
more.
sorry. I thought he was. I thought
Yeah.
he wants more of those. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I still feel
Yeah,
like
we'll always
there was
do
a
more of
point when
those.
like the Ed interview was like your biggest ever video. I remember that. That was cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Depends
Rashad,
if
we'll
people
do
say
more of them.
yes. Depends if people
Yeah.
say yes. Like as long as
We've had a
because not
lot of
everyone
people
wants to come and do
recently
an
that
interview.
haven't. Yeah, a lot of them have said no in a row. Like I've had a whole lot in a row that have said no. If you go and actually watch though, Rishav, most of the time when someone says no, they are completely okay with me reading out their final post and celebrating their wins. And so if you check recently, I've done a lot of those. There are a lot of times someone finishes up in the coaching. They don't want to do an interview because fair enough, you're nervous. You don't want to be on camera, blah, blah, blah. But I read out their final posts. I've done that a lot recently. There's like 5 in the last couple of months. So those are almost as good. I know
That's
it's not the same thing as hearing from the person.
yeah. By the way, that's not a reflection on how well they did in the coaching or whatever like that. There's like you can have guys who fucking crushed it, but just wouldn't want to go on camera and talk about it, and you get guys who like so like yeah. It's just not. It doesn't correlate between how well they did and like whether or not they want to come do an interview. Sometimes we've noticed that like some guys are just private as fuck. Like people have asked how to have stuff taken down like after the fact, maybe like 2 years later, which is fine. Like I think like people can give you consent to put stuff up and then take it down later. I will say that to anyone who comes through, like if you want to ask Andy to take this stuff down, he will. Like he's never gonna refuse
I put that all over
a
my
request.
website too. Like
the
nude photography that we've shot with women. At the top of every article and everywhere I say, like, by the way, if you ever want me to take anything down, just email me here and I will. And like we've actually had quite a few girls that are like, hey, I'm in a serious relationship now, maybe we're gonna get married. Do you mind like deleting all the shit? And I'm like, yeah, no shit, of course I will. Like, much love to both of you. Hope you guys have a great marriage. Like, yeah, you can always tell me and I'll delete shit. Always. Forever. Of course.
I'm gonna bow out here and say goodbye to everybody. Happy Christmas. Because it's not Christmas yet here, but it is Christmas, Andy. So Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Peace, love you all.
Namaste. Adios. Phoenix, you say more, you and Rishav, more interviews. Yeah. I ask everyone that finishes up in the coaching, I'm like, yo, do you want to come on the podcast? Do you want to come on the YouTube? It's just that like lately, a lot of people have said no. Fair enough. Diane says, these streams have already helped me so much. I'm much more calmer and I would dare to say also more aware of my own partly very toxic behaviors. Thanks for all your help. I love that. Something that helps that I realized like a while ago, and it really helped me, is like your behaviors aren't toxic. And like when you label them as such, like they're bad, it's almost like you feel guilt and shame. Most of your behaviors were just things you learned in childhood. Like all of us get raised as children, obviously. That's such an obvious statement. But then we become an adult and we're still using the same tools that we used as a child. And so we're defensive, we lie sometimes, we see other people as the enemy. Like those are all things we learned in childhood. And so they're not bad or toxic or I shouldn't do that or I should feel ashamed about that and all of that. It's just that you're innocent, and me too. Like we're all innocent. We're all acting out the behaviors that we learned in the schoolyard. And so you're trying to do your best. You're not toxic. You're just doing behaviors that are limited and are not the higher self that you want to be and are not leading you towards happiness or truth or honesty or any of the things that you probably care about. So it's not that they're bad and toxic and you should stop doing that and all of that. It's just these behaviors are not getting you what you want as effectively as you would like to. And so we're just replacing them with different behaviors, but they're not bad. You don't have to like feel bad about it. I guess that's what I'm saying. Rishav, you said, can we bring the old coaching clients for an update on how they're moving forward? Yeah, we can definitely do that. It's just that is like work. And generally, okay, here's what I'll explain. Generally speaking, the thing I care about most, this is just me, Andy, and what I care about, what I'm trying to maximize or optimize for, is freedom and, yeah, just freedom. Freedom is the thing I care about more than anything. Freedom and love, let's say that. And so bringing people back for an interview is infinitely more work, or maybe let's say like 10 times more work than me just sitting down on a live stream and talking to all of you and coaching you, or sitting down and recording a piece of content by myself that's like 1 hour long. That takes me about 1.5 hours to do. Like maybe 1 hour to sit down and do the video, half an hour to do a thumbnail, upload it, add a description, etc., and then I'm done. I'm good. I've done it. But doing something like an interview, it might not seem like it's a big effort, but it's like reach out to the person, then schedule and figure out when you can sit down together and do something, go back and forth. Oh, what would we talk about? Oh, what about this? What have you been up to? Give me some ideas of what you've been up to so I can formulate questions to ask you. I write questions for those. I'm quite prepared for an interview. You do all of that. Then the actual recording. Remember that the vast majority of people, of these people, like the coaching clients, they don't have a podcast or a YouTube channel themselves. They don't know how to talk on camera like effectively. Of course, they're just a person. They're really nervous. They would be as nervous as you would be, Rishav. If I said, Rishav, come on here right now and be entertaining, interesting, and try and change everybody's life who's listening to you, you'd probably have a freak out and be like, holy shit, I don't know how to do that. And so there are lots of like mistakes or stumbling moments, or some people say, like, and so there's some interviews where like literally it takes me a week to edit it, because it might end up as a 1 hour long interview, but maybe the recording was like 3 hours long because they had long periods of just going, and then I just sit there quietly listening to them for like 15 seconds, waiting for them to start answering the question. And then sometimes they'll start answering a question and they'll be like, actually, I forgot what I was saying. What was I saying? Can you ask the question again? And then like, you got to edit that. You're not just going to leave that in. That would be incredibly boring for all of you to listen to. So some people are fucking smooth at interviews, but the majority of them, no, it's like it takes hours and hours and hours of editing. And I enjoy doing that. I don't dislike doing that. But the idea of like, get someone on there, spend a week or two planning it, getting them on there, and then editing it again. For a lot of this stuff, it's like a 2 or 3 week process to just get a video out. It's not like just sit down and talk. Sometimes it is, but that's so rare. Even someone like Ed, I love Ed to bits, but Ed is not a speaker, and so Ed says a lot, and so I edit the shit out of Ed's videos. Ravi's pretty good because Ravi has his own channel. So bottom line, I'm happy to do that stuff. I'm just not desperate to do that stuff, if that makes sense. And I'm more interested in doing a new coaching client because it's new. They probably have some different angles, some different thing we can cover. I can ask different questions as opposed to the old coaching client. So yes, I will do that stuff. I guess that's an explanation as to why I'm not desperate to do that stuff. But yes, I can definitely do more of that stuff. I can't promise you that I will, but yeah, I really like the question, to be very clear. Like, great question, dude. And I love that you enjoy watching those. Those are some of the, I guess, most well-received content is from people who aren't me, talking about what they've been through, the struggles they go through, all of that. So I love doing those. It's almost like this, Rishav. This is how I would answer your question, brother. I work up the courage to do those. Like, straight up, I'm not even joking. I like will literally sit there like once a month just going like, all right, okay, these couple of people are finishing the coaching. All right, come on, get into that headspace of like preparing for this. It's almost like at least for me, I feel like I'm preparing for a marathon. I'm like, all right, okay, we're going to do this thing. So yeah, I'll definitely do them. It's just that I work up the courage to do them. Like literally I work up the courage. AV, who's one of the actual coaching clients, funnily enough, said the interview, like he and I did an interview, was a really good recap of the coaching as well as the final post. So he's talking about at the end of everyone's coaching, they make a final post in the coaching group talking about their wins and just to like remind you of everything that you've done. And it benefits everyone else as well. And then all of you get to benefit from that too. So he says, super grateful for how you set everything up, Andy. You know what's funny? You are one of the people where when we sat down, I didn't have to do much editing. I did a bit of editing with our interview, but you were pretty smooth. You're actually pretty easy to talk to. And I hope this is clear. Absolutely fucking nothing against anyone that sits down with me and says and like a lot. Yeah, like why would you be good at speaking on camera? So the vast majority of people come on and go, and they're usually really terrified of that at the start. And I say, look, even if this is like the most clumsy, awkward, worst interview ever, I don't expect you to be good at this. I'm going to edit it anyway. And even if it's absolutely terrible, which it will never be that because it's you speaking from the heart, I promise people will still benefit from it, and that helps people. So, yeah, Ravi has his own channel. You didn't know that? Yes, it is called. Why can I not remember his channel? My God, it's because he keeps changing his channel name. Fuck. Does anyone know his channel name? It's going to come to me in about 10 seconds. It's going to come to me in about 10 seconds. Someone will type it in the chat and then I'll show it on the screen. AV, you said the Ravi interview changed my life. Not even an understatement. Yeah, that was a great one. Ravi was a really good example of someone that was very, very, very depressed and very hopeless and stubborn and made a lot of amazing changes for sure. Yeah, Chad, you say mythical. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's because he's changed it quite a few times. He's like trying to figure out his brand name and stuff like that. This is gonna mess with me. I bet you the second I turn the stream off, I'm gonna remember what it is. Fucking hell. I don't think it's CM University. I don't think it's that now. Whatever. You all love Ravi. I love Ravi. That's all that matters. Tomorrow, if I remember, Rishav, you can ask me again and I'll probably tell you what his YouTube channel is. He does a lot of great interviews. And what's interesting is he works with a lot of clients that I've worked with. And so they leave us and then they go on his channel and they work with him for, 12 weeks or whatever. And then I get to see an interview with them. It's not CM University. No, you're right. It is. Has he changed it again? No, that's not his main channel. Okay. I'm looking at the one you guys are talking about. That's not his main channel. He has that's his coaching brand university. But yeah, I can't remember what his main channel is. Whatever. We all love Ravi. Iron Will, thank you. Yes. Fucking hell. How did I forget that? Iron Will, the joyful performance method. Here you go. Thank you, Brandon. Brandon coming through clutch. Absolute legend. So yeah, if you're interested in Ravi's story and Ravi's coaching, it's this. I haven't used his coaching program, so this is not an endorsement, but I know the guy and I'm going to assume his coaching is probably pretty decent, but don't quote me on that. But I love him to bits. From who he is as a person, I can probably assume his coaching is pretty fucking amazing. I certainly have heard a lot of people say that he changed their lives. So he's done 439 videos on his channel, catching up to me. I think we've done 800 or 900, so he's catching up. And he does a lot of videos that are somewhat similar to what we talk about on this channel. And yeah, this was one of my old coaching clients. So lots of people that he has for interviews are my old coaching clients, which is always really trippy because then I kind of get to see what they've been up to in the years after they left our coaching program. So yeah, he talks a lot about mindset, mental health, happiness, all that kind of stuff. And obviously I have a lot of love for Ravi. Ravi has a lot of love for me and makes that pretty clear. So I like Ravi. Ravi is a very nice person. All right. Diane says, good night, Merry Christmas. Good night to you too. You're amazing. Everyone here is amazing. Brandon, Mr. Brandon. Yo, Merry Christmas, Andy. Grateful for you. Merry Christmas to you. Grateful for you. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll probably say goodbye. I'm going to go have a little 40-minute break and then into my coaching. Got my big group coaching program right now. So yeah, much love to all of you. Go be awesome, amazing, wonderful people. But you're probably going to do that anyway. You don't even need me to tell you that. We will be doing these streams tomorrow as well. So feel free to come. I know it'll be Christmas for a lot of you, but yeah, feel free to drop in for a little bit and say hello. If nobody comes, I'll probably just do a 30-minute rant about something and go. But I have a feeling some of you are going to come. Rishav, I can see that you asked a question. Ask me this tomorrow. I won't answer it now, but ask me tomorrow, bro. Just copy paste that comment tomorrow. But yes, Merry Christmas. How long are you going to wait before you demand the best of yourself? These guys didn't wait. They joined my coaching program and gave themselves the life that they've been dreaming of. Taylor had a threesome, tons of sex, learned to be honest with his intimate partners, and fully embraced a more peaceful, happy, and loving mindset. Laz more than doubled his income from $25K to $45K a month, as well as having more sex than he could handle, all while fully embracing honesty and authenticity. Corky learned to love himself instead of always beating himself up. Oh, and he had a threesome, sex with 7 women, and started his own business. Want to do what they've done? Join our coaching program, and I and the other coaches will pour our heart and soul into giving you the life that you've dreamed of. No more waiting. Now is the right time. Link in the description below.